All right, so am I gonna do my hey guys?
Hey guys, Ghetto Feet here.
Oh, you did not just say that.
Gotta take it back. All right, well, to actually start off,
All
hey
right.
guys, this is Grant and
Richard. And this is movie review number.
fucking hate you.
Okay, here, let me redo that. Hey guys, this is Richard and Grant. And today we are here with movie review number 2,
Only
John
8 months
Carpenter's. 8 months later, John Carpenter. Oh my God.
You got it.
John Carpenter's
Carpenters. There you go.
Ghost on Mars. Of Mars. We're have to cut that out.
But anyway, this is John Carpenter's Ghost of Mars, a movie that I recommended because this is a masterpiece, although you don't seem to
And a
think so.
movie I almost beat him up in real life for.
Well, anyway, as we see with the opening here, of course, remember, they cannot see this, so no pointing to the screen saying, look at that, like last time. We open the movie with a narrator explaining that something has been unearthed on Mars, and all it leaves behind is silence and death, which is a pretty kick-ass opening.
I agree, but also, like I said, we're not going to mention the long Thomas the Tank Engine opening of the shots of the train rolling through the desert.
Dude, that's Thomas the Dank Engine over there.
Listen, just from the intro, I almost stopped watching the movie. I did.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
The intro's like 3 minutes. We're 4 minutes in.
Felt like an
We're
eternity.
past the intro.
Felt like an eternity, but
all right. Well, intro aside,
mm-hmm.
Now Mars is host to over 640,000 colonists, and all of them are imposed under Earth's law. So it's still all the same laws, but now imposed by a Mars police, which later on in the movie we are told it's kind of like the military, from what I saw.
From what I understand, yeah.
Like you sign up to take a tour in Mars
Mhm.
to keep all the miners in check and stuff like that. Miners being the actual people that mine stuff, not kids.
Yeah.
Just the Mars Kids Police. Where the fuck is that movie? That would have been awesome.
Shoot, I don't know. You should have recommended it.
What are we gonna watch next? Was it Kid Geniuses or whatever that
Oh
stupid
my God,
bullshit baby
don't-
movie was?
Don't even go there. Anyway, our girl, what was that? Lieutenant Melanie Ballard.
Yes, Lieutenant Melanie Ballard.
Well, now that you've restarted, is on trial. Well, not really on trial. She's being questioned as to the events of occurred.
So, sort of, basically, how we're introduced to the character is throughout this long-ass cutscene in the beginning that we all just talked about. But essentially, she is on a freight train where it's recently come back from an outpost, and she is found to be the lone person on the ghost train, as we'll call it. And basically, she is handcuffed and looks to be tripping balls. I think they mentioned she has this, whatever the name of the Mars LSD stuff is in her system.
Yeah,
which becomes an important part later on.
Lieutenant Ballard was taken to hospital under guard. She had superficial wounds, but was in otherwise good physical condition. However, traces of an illegal substance, tetramonochloride, were found in her system.
Essentially, she comes back from train. She's unconscious. They take her over into a boardroom, trial room. I put boardroom because I couldn't figure out if it was...
It looked like she was on trial with all the people sitting up there.
It also looked kind of like a company outpost thing. So I couldn't really understand that, but, I'll let it slide.
But I was going to say, she did ask if she needed an attorney and stuff like that. That's why I thought.
So that's when I kind of assumed, too. But it basically, just to get back on point, she is now being interrogated by this group of, I'll call them board members or jury members, Supreme Court justices, whatever the fuck you want to say. And they are asking her to recount the events that led to her being found inside this train.
Yeah.
And so inside the memory of her getting on the train, getting everything together, we meet her team members, I guess, which how many of them are rookies? It's like 3 rookies and 2 old school.
2 are rookies. It was the
No, Jason Statham was a rookie too.
Is he? That's okay. So 3 of them then.
Yeah, well, Jason Statham got transferred. He was with somebody else, and then 2 are rookies.
Yeah, 2 are rookies, and then you have, of course, team leader Helena, right?
Yep.
I almost pointed.
Commander Helena,
yep. She has a cool spouse 12, but I'll get to that.
Yeah, and doesn't really last too long, we'll say. But essentially, has her teammates that I wrote here as a going bald Jason Statham. So not bald yet, going bald Jason Statham.
Almost there.
And you probably don't recognize her, but do you know who Bashira is?
No, did not.
So her name is, I'm going to butcher it, Clea Duvall. Did you ever see the TV show Heroes?
You're bringing me back right now. Yes, from back in the day.
She was the FBI agent that worked with Parkman.
See, now I don't remember.
Yeah, as soon as I saw her, I'm like, I fucking know that lady.
Theory.
You always do.
This is Barstow all over again. It's Siler.
There is no Siler. Last words of a dying victim. It didn't mean anything.
But anyway, so Clea Duvall, or we'll just say Bashira because that's fucking easier. She is now on the train. She's one of the rookies being trained up throughout this program to deal with Mars police stuff. And Ballard takes Mars LSD because I forget the actual chemical name to it.
Was there a name? No, that's what I'm looking for.
They say it in the very beginning, like when they're about to bring her into the courtroom.
Tetramonochloride were found in her system.
They say, and we found this in her system. She takes some drugs and trips balls, staring at her necklace, and it's like moving around like a snake.
And then we see waterfalls.
Oh, I didn't even write that.
Or wait, actually.
Or no, wait, is that later?
No, that's now. I was giving the listener a visual effect.
Well, they're also seeing it.
My bad.
Okay, whatever. But essentially, they are discussing the prisoner in the background, and then they wake up Melanie Ballard from a drug trip, and Helena like leses out kind of on her. Doesn't she like kind of hit on her?
Well, I need you straight, Melanie.
Don't worry about that, Commander. As straight as they come.
Such a shame. Check on a transfer schedule.
All I know is that our boy here, going bald Jason Statham, is hitting on her all movie.
And almost got it. He was so close.
It was tragic. It was a tragic end.
Tragedy.
Yeah, it could be that. Maybe she just has good taste in women.
Sergeant, you were seriously out of line.
I'd hate to spoil my record.
But essentially, she wakes up. They discuss the prisoner that they are now going to pick up, who is James Desolation Williams, also known as
Ice Cube.
And what is he charged for?
Murder.
Yes. He is charged for the murder of like 6 outpost members because they went to go basically pick him up and they found all these dead bodies and it was all bad. But basically, he is said to have killed 3 people before and gotten off each time on self-defense. Which sounds like there's either some really,
sounds shady,
really good lawyers on Mars, or he actually is self-defending himself.
Like I said, shady, but we'll go with it.
So they go to leave the train. They are told by the actual train members themselves that they're going to give them a certain time frame to get back in, which I forget the actual time frame. I think it's like an hour and 30 minutes, like something that's, a decent amount of time.
Yeah.
But basically the runtime of the movie. And they go ahead and depart, give her a wide range of time to get back to them. And then they go ahead and go outside into the Mars atmosphere, where they're told to wear breathers, which is like what's it called? The water packs they wear, Camelback?
Camelbacks?
Yeah, they basically just wear Camelbacks, and they have like a little tube that they breathe into, which you can tell is just them being cheap and not wanting to like get the actors respirators or something.
It's a good idea, but
yeah, because
cheap.
They're saying like
definitely cheap.
Yeah, they're saying like they need to terraform Mars and it's gonna take like years to get it to breathable atmosphere, and they all still get headaches and shit. But essentially, here's where they discuss how the police force on Mars is kind of like the military, where you sign a deployment contract and then go back and forth and rest and relaxation time, all that stuff. They arrive at the town, which is now completely empty.
Yes.
They very briefly say, "Huh, that's weird."
Which, in my mind, it was supposed to be like this Vegas-like place, is how they described it. Like, it's supposed to be popping.
They're like
hookers, that sort of thing.
Yeah, I literally put here, usually be popping with drugs and whores.
Oh, that's funny.
But there are no drugs and whores nearby, which means that there is something wrong with this town.
Where is everybody?
Yeah, Friday night the place should be packed. I mean, a whole 12 hours before sunup, and there's money to burn, whores to fuck, and drugs to take. Instead, we got a graveyard.
Absolutely silent.
Absolutely sound. No drugs, no horse.
Now, of course, when you have rookies, and you know how they kind of split up here, questionable decision, but
Yep. So 2 most senior members of the team, which is Ballard and Helena, whose actual last name I forget. It's Commander something. Braddock. That's it.
Mm.
Commander Braddock. But basically, they split up with the rookies. Braddock taking Descasano, I think his name is, and Bashira. I don't remember him as the guy who gets his head chopped off, but we'll get to that. But basically, she takes them 2, and they go to the rec area, whereas Ballard and Jason Statham go to the jail cells to basically start the process of releasing the prisoner.
Yeah.
And then they open the jail, and it's just as dead as all of everything else around there. As this kind of goes along, this is what I was telling you about the ending of what I wish was happening, because it's all told from Ballard's perspective.
Yeah.
Which is why it's doing all these jump cuts for when the characters get back to her and then relay the information to her. Well, what I hoped would have happened is that they would have gone to the what do you call it, train, and found Bashira, Statham, and Ballard all alive. Because all 3 of them were pretty essential to every part of the story until, of course, the end. But when it comes to that, that would have kind of filled in the gaps to make it flow easier as a story.
Yeah.
Yep. But essentially, they go ahead and find the camera showing that Desolation is still inside of his cell, but they cannot get to his cell because the door is locked with a level 8 security lock that Jason Statham's just like, yeah, I got it.
Yeah, he seems to put no effort into it, but regardless, this is when we get to our first dead body, or actually, no, not even our first, our whole room of dead bodies, correct?
Yep, they find a whole room full of dead bodies over with Braddock and Bashir and Descasano. But essentially, they find, was it like, I didn't count, but like 9 bodies all strung up, hung upside down. Decapitated, like all the blood drained from their body. And they also have all these structures around that I kept on seeing where they're like the barbed wire
nails, like silverware was there? No, it was barbed wire and nails.
I think I just saw barbed wire nails.
There's a bunch of different metal pieces on it, but yeah.
Yeah, but they just made like chandeliers everywhere.
Yeah.
And like weird structures. But essentially, they find a disembodied arm inside of this, what was it, like a power station?
Yes.
Yeah, so they find a disembodied arm in the power station. They're like, oh, shit's fucked. We got to get out of here. Descasano then pops up, scaring Jericho, saying that the rec room looks like a slaughterhouse. And then at this moment, they do what I personally think is the weakest part of this movie, which is the backing up to do the flashback. So they go ahead and back up, do the flashback where you see all the rec room bloody mess that we've been describing. And then once they go ahead and get back all together, they go to the jail, break into the cells, and start, interrogating prisoners who seem to be the only people that they can find who are alive.
Yeah, and we come across, it's what, an old, I don't even know the names, an old man. You had the scientist who had made her way.
I only know the scientist's name. I had to look up the other ones, but I didn't even write them down. Scientist's name is Whitlock.
So you had 2 prisoners.
3 or 4. The hot girl in leather. The
hot
miner,
girl in leather.
And the guy who gets possessed later on.
You're right.
Yeah.
You're right. Yeah, okay.
Well, 5 if you include Desolation.
Yeah,
but
sure.
Yeah.
So 4 of them. Oh, yeah, here we go. The rookie's spooked, as you can see. Sorry. I did it. But yeah, that's the part we kind of already went over.
Yep, because we're watching this behind. I should take this away. You lean on it too much.
Well, it's a good little talking point for me. I like to give a visualization of me getting the visualization.
The visualization of you getting the visualization?
Yeah, I said what I said.
So the audience is watching, being like, oh yeah, that's what Richard looked like when he saw this. Looking like a brown Freddie Mercury over there.
I have honestly no words for that.
Cut it.
Yeah, cut it.
They all get back together and go to the jail cells again. And then inside here, they find the sergeant's notes, seeing that all the miners called a work stoppage, which is super weird because they show the work stoppage happening later on.
Yeah.
And the work stoppage happens and then everybody dies. So who wrote these notes? Dun, dun, dun.
Now, that's actually a really good point because you're right. Right when they all kind of stop working, that's when that mist.
Yeah, the red mist flows over.
and
yeah, and kills them all. So, or possesses them all and kills all the people who didn't get possessed.
So either I missed something or that's kind of a weird detail that they put in.
Yeah, maybe it took longer to get to the miners and call the work stoppage than it took to enter it in. But anyway, they go ahead and find Desolation Williams, theorizing that he is the one who has done all this, even though he's locked in a jail cell, so it makes no fucking sense for him to have been able to do this. Yes, so they find a sleeping prisoner, Whitlock, who is the scientist lady. She's a white lady, short hair, looks all crazy. She offers some background information saying that she has escaped her previous outpost from a weather balloon, which seems like much better of a movie. Like her trying to escape all these possessed people in a weather balloon.
You know what it made me think of? It looked like some Mad Max shit, what she was doing.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? Just the way it was rigged and the way it looked, I'm like, this is like some Mad Max stuff right here. But anyways, yeah, she crash lands, and hence why I think she's traveling for a week.
She was traveling for like a week or 5 days or something like that.
Something insane, yeah.
And she crash lands. The weather balloon explodes in a huge gas ball after it gets struck by a windmill, I think.
Yeah.
But essentially, she voluntarily locks herself into the prison because she knows what's coming. She's not sure what exactly it is, but she has a pretty good idea that it's not great.
Yeah.
Yep. And then they go ahead and interrogate her while they're there, but she doesn't offer any responses. She just kind of deflects and say, some crazy shit happened. I don't want to talk about it. And then Jericho finds Bashira pointing her gun at a door where there's a banging sound inside. The group then goes ahead and opens it up, finding a officer who is out of officer's clothes, so you wouldn't really know, who's tripping out and staring at her hands with like odd red vision. So something's obviously wrong with her, but at this point...
And you're talking about in the little rover, correct?
No, that's later. This is before. They're in the jail. There's a woman banging on door. They open it. She falls out, and she's like looking at her hands all weird and stuff. Yeah, but essentially she's all tripped out, and it's pretty obvious something's wrong, but nobody really knows what at this moment. And then Melanie goes ahead and tells the board that she seemed possessed at that time, but of course at this point we don't know by what just yet.
Yeah.
And then they tried to they tried to go ahead and clear the town, finding a buggy with lights on. And inside the buggy, there's a man inside with a knife, warning them in the loudest voice possible to not open the door. And then turns out that Melanie, I guess, could read lips this entire time. He's like, I guess he doesn't want us to open the door. Open that door.
Well, he ends up, slicing his own throat, correct?
Yep, he ends up slicing his own throat to escape whatever's inside him getting out into the world. Yep, but then after he goes in and slices his throat, what I thought was kind of cool, showing the possession kind of that travels in the air, is that the red mist was still active even though the guy was dead. Like it was still moving around and stuff.
Well, it basically escaped him, and now...
Yeah, it was just like a red tinted perspective, which I guess can be stopped by car AC, because it's a proven fact that these cars don't need to be completely airtight because they could just breathe whenever they want. But, not gonna throw too many stones at this movie because I'm the one who picked it. But essentially they go ahead and now return to the jail. Demolition has Bashira with a knife to her throat, and Melanie fights him. After getting knocked out in the scuffle, Melanie then wakes up, and essentially Desolation has stolen her shotgun, was it?
Yes.
Yep, and ran to a secondary jail cell or a power station. Med bay, that's what it was.
The med bay?
Yep, yeah, med bay, where they find a bunch of crazy shit. Cool. So she goes ahead and falls into the med bay where he has the shotgun. She finds more of that barbed wire art installations and more miners like sitting in their beds, like seemingly injured, and then there's some who obviously like mutilated themselves, but essentially they're all just acting weird and staring at her. Nothing on the screen anymore.
That's a damn shame. Do you have to, you know what I'm gonna say, when I say all these cuss words, you have to blur all these out, or
no?
Okay, just making sure.
I'm just blurring out because that's a no word. It's like if I said cut it. I'm just gonna beep those.
Oh my god. Anyways,
it's like we're live streaming it.
I wish we were.
My career would be over. Help, police. This man called me
I can't with you. Oh my god. Oh boy.
Well, anyway.
Anyway, yeah. I hope you edit this good. If I go through this and I hear one slip up, as in one of the words you didn't bleep out, that's it.
Dude, the last video took me fucking a week to fucking edit. I'll do my due diligence.
I trust you.
I did 3 fucking final passes. I sent them all to you.
Oh boy. Anyways, on with the movie before I actually strangle you in front of this McDonald's.
Fucking do it.
We're outside, by the way.
Yeah, we're in our car. Or my car. Not our car. All right, anyway, back to the med bay. So then a wired jaw girl, like she has fucking like wired jaw with nails and stuff and barbed wire.
One of the demons, I guess you could say.
Yeah, the demons who are inhabiting one of the miners that were in med bay, I guess, already, or maybe went there. She attacks Desolation, and then Melanie saves him and holds him at gunpoint with a demonic entity like already chasing them towards the jail cell. I think they just like close the door just as they're getting out. But essentially, Desolation admits to all the other crimes he's done, but he's saying he is not a murderer.
Yes.
Which reminds me a lot of that Mad TV sketch.
All right, Kenny, I apologize for my client, Your Honor.
Apologize for your client. Don't apologize for me. I didn't rob no bank, okay? I don't want everyone in here thinking I'm some kind of bank robber, okay? I don't need the money. I'm a drug dealer.
When he clears his name, yeah, so that's what I thought was cool. So he actually says, yeah, I did all that stuff. But am I a murderer? Nah. Or no, he actually does admit to the other ones are self-defense, right?
Yeah, he's like, I've killed some people before, but not this one.
Yeah, but not this weird shit going on.
Yeah, but essentially they show his flashback now where Desolation shows up after basically a killing has happened where a bunch of bodies are already hung up and drained of blood, decapitated, all that stuff, and just finds a bundle of cash, which just seems kind of weird.
Yeah,
I guess
weird.
Maybe they were doing a money exchange or some weird shit. But he finds all the bodies and is like, fuck this, I'm getting out of here, grabs the cash and runs. And that's apparently what they found after he had came there. So that's why he's in this jail cell. After that, Melanie refuses to let Desolation free from his cell, knowing that basically if she lets him out, he will run free and get the fuck out there. And then it shows Jericho, which is Jason Statham, looking for the commander and seeing a possessed person putting heads on spikes. And then seeing the newest one to be added to the spikes
is the commander.
Yes. Which from real far away looks like a fucking shitty mannequin head. Like absolutely shitty. But up close the CGI was alright.
Yeah.
Yeah. They did a pretty good job with the up close just pasting her head on a spike, but you know.
But this is where Jericho, this is a cool part of the movie I thought, where he actually walks up to that overbank or that hill and sees all the demons kind of, I don't know if I should call them demons. They're humans, but
I call them demonic most of the time, so I would say demons.
All right, these demons, and they're all kind of almost like in their battle stations. They're all listening to their main leader, who is just kind of screaming the entire time.
Yeah. I don't know why this stood out to me, but I put they're all doing decapitations, having war chants, all that stuff with their leader, who looks to have pierced nipples with very large bolts.
Yes.
Like just some big old bolts inside those nips.
Weird thing you noticed, but I also noticed.
Yeah.
I don't want to say nothing.
You know, I didn't say anything about the Prince Albert that I saw a guy in the background have.
You did?
No.
I was gonna say, you know how when they get possessed, it kind of shows them sticking knives in their
yeah,
skin
like
and stuff.
immediately start like scratching themselves, cutting their face, all that.
Yeah,
stuff.
I can see you if you got possessed. Just give yourself a Prince Albert on the spot.
It shows like all these people with like knives, like cutting their face like super sloppily, and then it cuts over to one guy with very careful, like precision tool, putting something down his dick and piercing it.
I was thinking some like BME Pain Olympics shit.
Oh.
Cut it. I don't want the
You
kid.
don't want nobody to know that you watch BME Pain Olympics.
I don't want the kids knowing. But yeah, Jericho goes to the overbank, kind of sees, okay, there's something going on here.
Yeah, like something's going on here. We better get the fuck out. So he radios the station, I guess I'll call it at this point. It's a jail cell, but that just seems weird. But basically radios them. And they're like, oh, we can't hear you, even though it's coming loud and clear, which annoyed the shit out of me. But essentially he's like, all the miners are insane. The commander's dead. Let's go ahead and get the fuck out of here.
Yep.
So they get back over to the station and it cuts again, even though Jason Statham's part isn't over yet, which is weird. But they interrogate Whitlock for more information because they realize, obviously, this bitch knows something, what's going on.
Yep.
And then she reveals that Mars has organisms that were dormant before humankind were even around that have survived. She puts it as though they were like in a pond that drained.
Mm-hmm.
And then even though they didn't have the pond in which they originally were in, once they're reintroduced to that water, they start proliferating. Yeah, that's the word for it.
That's a $5 word right there.
So essentially, all these possessions or whatever are dormant species from before humans were even around that were on Mars and are sentient, disembodied spirits, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Which, I don't know, they try to kind of bring the science into it, but it really just feels like Ghost.
That's kind of what I understood was basically they went to Mars or I guess humans went to Mars and there was just something already there.
Well, like
regardless
there was some back like from way in the day, and then they unearthed it, which we find out later they like blew this tomb open, which disintegrated on their touch, like just a big stone wall just crumbled down to ashes. Which I don't know, just seems like magic. They should have had them like excavating it or something.
Now
like
I want to add, I did come up on that excavation part of the movie, but that's when that link you sent me told me that either I was getting unlimited ads, they wouldn't play the movie again, so I have to find another website.
Hot singles in your area.
No, not even that. It would. Well, side note, you gave me a stupid Crackle. Is what it was?
Yeah.
It would play the 4 ads, go back to the movie for like 1 second, and then play the 4 ads again. I was just like,
yep, like it just went in a circle.
So 5 websites later, I skipped over that tomb part. So this will be all you.
Wait, skipped over the tomb part?
Which is probably an essential part of the movie, but
well, anyway, just to catch you up on the part of the movie they missed. So Whitlock was part of a archaeological dig site. They blew off a mountain face, and they see just this like perfectly formed like tomb section where it's just a hallway that goes super deep.
And I remember that, yeah.
Yeah, and basically they go like halfway down, and they see this big stone door with like little cracks on it. Whitlock touches it, disintegrates, and red mist just comes flying out, which possesses / kills everybody but Whitlock. Yeah. And then we go ahead and see the possessed miner from earlier that was banging on the door. And she is basically killed during the attack. I forget how it happens. Was it Bashir that kills her, or does she kill the other one?
I think Bashir does, yeah.
No, not this one, because she shoots the guy
she shoots him.
No, she shoots the guy who gets possessed later on. I think possessed by this. Because after this, the old guy inside the cage, like, claws his eyes out and everything. And that's when she kills who infects, what's her name? Melanie? Yeah, Melanie. What's her last name?
Ballard. Lieutenant Melanie Ballard.
Yeah, but essentially, she gets killed during something. I think Melanie might actually just cap her. But the organism, or I'll just say soul, the ghost, that's it. The ghost gets free and now inhabits the old prisoner who is sitting in the back of the prison cell, basically just sitting by his lonesome and just kind of sits up a little bit straighter, and that's about it. And then Jericho now returns with 3 other survivors who all have suitcases, which are full of detonators. So we see that these 3 survivors were hidden inside of a shack, and then we get more information a little bit later on. But essentially, these survivors saw what was going on and hid away from all these crazy ass people and dragged Jericho in, made sure that he's legit, gave him his gun back, and now they're all here.
Which to me is interesting how, I don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves, but we find out that they are, in fact, I guess, criminals.
Well, it's the next thing. Like, they pull out the guns immediately, so you can go ahead and lay it out if you want.
How they give Jericho back his gun knowing he's a cop, even though these 3 guys are part of Desolation Williams' gang. I guess, or I don't think it's a gang, but they roll with him.
Yeah.
One of them is his brother, and...
Yeah, I don't really know how they're connected, like if they're just all a crew, or, if they're just his henchmen, or I don't know. But essentially, they flash back to them. They're overlooking the camp, looking to go ahead and break Desolation out. But they see the red mist come through, and
they see shit hit the fan.
Oh shit, this is crazy. I'm gonna get out of here. Basically, all the miners were knocked out by this red mist that like flowed over the top of a hill. And then when they came to, all the non-possessed ones were immediately killed. And then all the other ones immediately started mutilating themselves.
Yep.
And then back in jail, all the survivors are then, revealed to be Desolation's crew.
Which they pull guns on the cops, right?
Yep, they pull the guns on the cops, even though they just gave back a cop his gun. And then they advise Melanie, or Jericho, Jason Statham, advises Melanie to let Desolation out and just everybody chill out, work together, and they'll all stay alive.
Yeah.
Which ultimately is a good idea.
And that's part of the movie I was kicking myself. I'm thinking, this bitch needs to shut up. Shit's in the fan. They need to work together. But I know, I guess her goal, or their goal, is to bring Desolation with them.
Yeah, basically, she's the only one who wants to complete her mission now.
Even though all the other people are like, no, we gotta.
Yeah, all the other guys are just like, fuck this shit. Like, we're cops second, we're people first. Let's just fucking work through this shit, get out of this alive, and get out of here. But essentially, they let Desolation free, let the thugs unite after held at gunpoint to do so. And then, hilarious, they all three get locked into the cell.
Yeah.
Melanie hits the button. And he's about to shoot her in the head, and she's like, "Why would you do that? If you do that, you'd all be stuck in there."
Yeah.
So they release all their firearms. They agree to work together, even if it's only a temporary solution.
And
then after they go ahead and let them out, they also let all the other prisoners free and deputize them.
Yep. Becomes kind of like a not a martial law scenario. That's the wrong term, but kind of a hey, kind of what you said. We're all people. We all got to get out of here.
Yep, they're just like, all right, whatever you guys do here, it's not illegal. Blow whoever the fuck you want away. Carry as many guns as you want. Let's just get this shit over with.
Yeah.
So then Descasano, whose name I realized as I wrote that, because it's the first time I mentioned him, then makes grenades with food cans, which you can take it from here.
Which, my favorite part, as they're all cutting open fruit cans, your hot prisoner. That was who was the hot prisoner who was there.
The hot prisoner in leather.
Is in front of one of Ice Cube's henchmen, and I guess
Mr. Dose,
which he's also doing some sort of looks like an inhaler, but it's like kind of like a drug or something.
What they say it's a black market rebreather. So essentially, it's a.
Well, it's like nitrogen or something. Like you just take it in, and
basically their breathers that they're breathing through are tuned to be like Earth's atmosphere, to be to their lungs.
Yeah.
But black market ones are like triple or quadruple the amount of nitrous, so they're just getting they're doing whippets basically.
Yeah, just getting fucking high off this shit.
Yep.
But anyways, as he's high off his fucking or half his ass, cuts the fruit can, and as he, my favorite part of the movie, as he picks it up to give it to her. Well, we see that he's actually chopped off his thumb.
That's beautiful. That's what you get, dumbass.
I think it's only funny because of Ice Cube's reaction. Which I don't remember word for word, but basically he's like, "You fucking dumbass."
Basically, that's it. Everybody just starts laughing, and he's sitting there with a chopped off thumb, takes another hit of his nitrous, and then passes
out. Yeah.
Yeah, but essentially now they all just laugh at him. I think Melanie walks up and is like, "Are you gonna be okay?" He's like
shaking. Yeah.
He holds up the thumb they just cut off. He's like, "Yep, I'm fine," and he's just blowing his nitrous everywhere. But then they go ahead and move out. They're all armed. They're running through this town.
I was saying, this is the first battle scene when they all kind of run out together, start basically blasting away at all the demons.
Yep, yeah, they start blasting away at all demons. But first, they kind of just bypass all that shit. They get to the train station, and of course, Desolation's like, "What the fuck is this?"
The train isn't there. That's right.
Yeah, no,
big part there. Yeah.
They're like, "The train is gone. What the fuck is this?" Apparently, for some reason, the train moved to a different station, and then they tried to come back, but there was
no one was in contact with them.
There was a Mars tree in the path. They literally said there's blockage in the road, which it's fucking Mars. What is there going to be? Rocks?
Probably some rocks.
Just a Mars tree fell over. But essentially, they contact train. And they're like, "Where the fuck are you?" And they're like, "Oh, we're 30 minutes out." So they're forced to wait for their return. So then it kicks off the huge battle, which is one of 3 that they have. But essentially in this battle, there's Uno, who is Ice Cube's brother, is possessed. Does he get killed or just possessed? Because this is the last we see of him. He's not there anymore.
That's what's weird is I don't think he gets killed. I think Ice Cube sees he's possessed, kind of says shit, and then he runs off. It doesn't end him.
for some reason, I thought like Ice Cube sees him like that, blows his brains out, and walks away. But I don't think that.
No, he just runs away thinking, "Oh, my brother's fucked," and then that's it. Yeah, you don't really see him. He doesn't really die.
They could have had like a Dawn of the Dead scenario where like the zombie comes in, but it's his brother, and it's like, oh my god, what are we doing? But they just forget about him.
Yeah,
which is kind of shitty. But essentially, they go ahead and just all
write
him
him off. Yeah.
Dose also dies. He's the guy who chopped off his thumb and was just, fucking blasted on nitrous and threw a grenade and exploded himself, basically.
Yep.
But then Uno gets possessed by a demon. We already went through that. Who gets hit by a javelin? Oh, Trace. Trace gets hit by a javelin right in front of the jail cell.
Yep.
And Descasano is sitting there like blasting away, gets his arm chopped off.
Yep.
Still keeps blasting away. Ice Cube runs out, grabs Trace, brings him inside. Descasano gets decapitated, which was awesome. But it's like, this dude has a javelin in his heart. This guy only lost an arm. Get him.
Yeah, well,
I guess they're closer.
Yeah.
But after they go ahead and get back into the jail cell, Trace is about to die, has a javelin sticking out of his heart. He's like, "Where's your brother?" Where we learn that Uno was his brother.
Yeah.
Great. So now they're inside the building, the jail cell building, and their army of demonic forces are marching on them. Basically, everybody's going to the jail cell. They're all going to get in and kill them. While they're doing that, Whitlock then shows that the possessed prisoner is following the wind, which is kind of weird because I guess the spirits flow with the wind of Mars. So the prisoners also do it, or not prisoners. The demons also do it.
It's almost like the dust, right? That goes with the wind.
Sort of, but none of the others do it. This is the only one that shows that.
Okay.
I guess maybe what they're implying is that because it goes with the wind, if they get out of the host, it follows the wind so it can escape. Yeah, but that just seems like too much of a stretch. But after that, they go ahead and here is where they talk about the underground tomb. We talked about it a little bit early, but who cares? So they talk about the tomb, red mist pours out, all that stuff. And then they find out that Bashira is standing guard over the last prisoner who is now cutting himself up and doing all this crazy shit to himself. And Jericho, this is where he almost gets her. He almost has Melanie fuck him. They're in a storage closet.
And I thought he did it.
He's like about to unbuckle his pants, whip out that Jason Statham hog, but then
that Jason Statham hog.
Yep, you know it.
Door out leading to the rear entrance. A good sturdy door.
So what's your point?
It's rather cozy. Don't you think?
I don't believe this. You lured me back here to seduce me?
Yeah, well, the way things are going, I thought this might be our last chance to dance.
Yeah.
But then Bashir shoots the guy, so they have to rush back inside. And Jason Statham's like, "Oh, just fucking bummed they didn't get laid."
Hey, I was rooting for him the whole movie.
I was surprised she was like, "Yeah, whatever."
Yeah, that got me too.
Yeah, I was like, "What?" You're just paying off on this like halfway through. But essentially, they find out that Bashir has killed the prisoner, releasing the virus, and is finding a way around the room, basically trying to look for a new host,
which gets
Melanie. So after Bashir goes ahead and shoots the prisoner, releasing the demon, they dump Melanie outside as she has now been infected or possessed. And with the possession, Ice Cube and Jericho both go outside. They lay her down. Ice Cube stole her necklace, I guess, somehow, and gives it to her. And Jericho's like, "Oh, it's her stash. Give her one more hit while she dies."
Yep.
And that one more hit triggers demon memories, and apparently there were like reptile lizard creatures.
Dude, that thing was freaky looking. I remember, whatever the thing was, those memories, I was like, holy shit. But you know what? He kind of alludes to the fact that the drug was going to kill whatever's inside. I don't know if you remember that.
Does he?
He actually says, hopefully whatever she's taken can. I swear I need to go back and look, but he says something like that. I'm thinking, oh no way.
Maybe I was pretty sure he's just like one more last hit for the road or something like that. Like one more hit as you die.
I'll have to go back and look. Oh shoot.
Yeah, we'll see on the final cut.
Do you know what it is? It's a stash. This will mess with anything in there.
But essentially, she gets shown all these memories of these
Weird looking creatures.
weird-looking kind of shitty CGI reptile creatures who are doing all the war chants that this guy was doing back at the camp. And these creatures are the original souls or carriers, I guess, of these souls, and that's who's haunting us essentially.
Yeah.
Basically, she expels the mist. Like she just gets so high that she gets up and vomits it out, and now is just completely fine. Like no adverse effects. She's just perfect.
And that to me was such a cop out, but whatever.
It was, but
how all of a sudden she's having these weird flashbacks, kind of twitching. All of a sudden, okay, we're good.
Well, like I was telling you, why didn't they just give everybody these then? Because then there's no risk of anybody getting fucked.
Well, they didn't know, right?
Yeah, but the high apparently only lasts a fucking minute, less than a fucking minute, and then you gain all of its memories and powers apparently, and that's it. But anyway, that's just one thing that kind of was like, just give everybody a tab. That way, if they get infected, they're not dead; they're still alive.
Yeah.
But then Melanie realizes how fucked she is because she's outside, no weapons, and has been abandoned by her baby because they think she's a demon.
Which, of course, happens to find one single demon out on his own.
Yes, a lone demon in the night.
Fights him, takes his saw-looking.
Yeah, it has like this
weapon
sword that is like
it has like a saw in it or something.
Yeah, it's like serrated.
Yeah.
But essentially, instead of using the sword as a sword and finishing off the miner, she did not kill. It's just fucking alive, just knocked out on the ground. She uses it like a grappling hook and gets
back into the...
Which none of the other demons decide to use. But essentially, she gets back inside. They knock on the door. They see her on the camera, and they're like, oh, she looks human. Let's let her in, which should have taken way longer than that. Or even better, they should have had it to where maybe while Melanie was passed out, maybe Desolation's brother like shows up, like mean mugging the camera.
Yeah.
And Desolation wants to go outside and they're like, no, man, it's not him, or something like that. But essentially, they go ahead and let her back in after she proves herself not to be infected. I don't remember how. I think she just says, I can speak or something like that.
Yeah, and then that's it. I'm like, what?
Yeah, like no test past that. Didn't realize, hey, maybe this thing learned English while it's just running around. Then they go ahead and talk about the memories, saying, oh, these must be the original Martians. They've been fighting for years, and they see the humans as now the invading species to Mars. Which I guess is right, but like it just seems like they're murderous. It doesn't seem like they're fighting off invaders.
Well, I think that's the point. Is like, humans are trying to terraform the place, and whatever was here before is like, nah, fuck that. You
like
gotta
trying to keep it like they had. Yeah, that makes sense. And then they see the miners on the cameras with like battering rams. Like they created a tank out of the
They
rover.
created a battering ram, yeah,
Yeah,
out of one of the rovers,
and they have grappling hooks, so they learned at least from her and throw those all over, pour into the jail. The group kills as many as they can before retreating. Bashira and Jericho and Desolation and Melanie all like alternate while shooting their clips, which I thought was kind of cool.
That was cool, yeah.
They're reloading, which I love in movies because you'd never fucking see that.
Yeah.
And also that they're actually doing it in a good way to where it takes them time. They're like, all right, switch out.
Yep.
Yeah. And then like one lone mist, I guess, goes after them. The others just float up to mist heaven or whatever. But they shut a door before it can get in. And then they set in a trap for an explosion, which is like a barrel propane or space propane.
Yeah, space propane.
Yeah. Space propane and propane accessories.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Insert Hank Hill meme.
What? That boy ain't right. My dad.
Oh, my God.
Good?
No, I'm not good after that.
Way to continue. They set a trap for the explosion with the space propane.
Mhm.
They run away, setting the main guy on fire, which he just survives as normal, which is weird because they're human on the outside. It's not like they have any special indestructible abilities or
No.
anything like that. But this guy is, I don't know, just, I guess, the most jacked of the humans. So
Yeah,
he's
just the huge
fine.
guy.
I don't know, it kind of looked like just a more muscle Marilyn Manson.
That's what that reminded me of. Yeah.
Yeah, like kind of pale with the long hair and shit.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I didn't even look up who played him. I probably should have.
Say
you
no
wanna-
more. Say no more.
Tell me what else he's been in.
Yes, sir.
Might be better to do the IMDb. Or we don't know his name, so that's not gonna fucking help.
Oh, right here. Big Daddy Mars, I assume, is
Big Daddy Mars.
yeah. That's literally what the guy's name is.
Hey, I'll
Big-
take it. What's his name?
Richard Cedrone.
Richard Cetrone. Has he
Mhm.
been in anything else?
I'll look at IMDb right now. He's in stuff. Yeah, he's
He's probably gonna be like some super famous guy that none of us realizes.
he does a lot of it's all stunts. So stunts in
Oh,
Batman
it's-
versus Superman,
Gotcha.
Star Wars, Captain America,
Tell
Star
me,
Wars.
Go back to like 2006. Was he like in Freddy versus Jason or some shit? Like he's got to be like one of those guys who's in horror movies.
So he was the werewolf in Cabin in the Woods.
ooh,
I was
got
wondering who
a real star.
what could be like. He's in a lot. I mean, the guy's in a lot of stuff. Little side note here. Yeah, I just want to give credit where credit's due.
Give credit to Big Daddy Mars.
2006, 2007, Bodyguard 2, Underworld, Scorpion King. Nah,
Oh, Scorpion King,
yeah. So
The Rock's first movie.
yeah, he's
a big one.
he's been doing it since '93. I mean, what a guy! What a guy!
Must be good, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, they jump in a buggy and start driving as the miners give chase after they have fled the building.
Mhm.
Essentially, they just fled, got out of there while shooting at anything they could. They see the train that is currently waiting for them.
Yep.
They get in a buggy, get over to the actual train station. The buildings all around just start exploding, which I guess they could have done at any fucking time, but they decide not to. The group makes it to the train and leaves, which the exception of the hot girl, the hot prisoner.
Because she gets killed.
Yeah, she gets killed. And who else gets killed?
Well, I thought during that kind of last fight there, all the side characters kind of get killed off.
Yeah, like all the prisoners and stuff.
Mhm.
I'm pretty sure one of them got killed way before, but still, essentially, the hot girl's the only one we care about so far. They got killed. They go ahead and go back into the train. They all get out of there. The train starts to leave. And then I think it's Whitlock, Bashira, Jericho, Melanie, and the 2 train conductors left. So that leaves us with 7 out of the original, 20.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. But essentially, they go ahead and start to reflect on the situation. Melanie then says, we got to go back and destroy them to prevent the spread of this virus.
Mm-hmm.
So they have a plan to detonate the power station, which is a nuclear power station.
Yep.
So they want to set off an atomic bomb in an attempt to destroy them, which Whitlock is like, yeah, we can do it. So they all just say, all right, let's go.
Except the conductor who's like, fuck no, we're out of here. Which that would have been low key, that would have been me. I said, man.
Which
I'll-
turns out he's right.
Which
like, didn't fucking make a difference.
I'll wait in the train is what I would say.
No way.
I'm giving you an order.
I don't care. The answer's no.
The answer's yes.
But essentially, they jump off the train. Jericho and Whitlock go to the power station while all the others attempt to hold off the demonic creatures as a distraction. They're quickly overrun, like super fucking quick. So they go ahead and have trains start coming back. And while they're working, the main miner spots the team over at the power station. Is like, "Rah, let's go fucking kill them." And for everybody can't see, because of course nobody can. I'm pointing because he pointed over at him. And then they go ahead and provide a bunch of covering fire. They try as hard as they can to basically make sure everybody survives. But Whitlock, as she's coming out, is just randomly possessed. She's gone, never killed or anything like that. Just gone to the demons. Whitlock is then, or I already said that. And then the train conductor is, I put RoboCop.
Yeah.
Do you remember the opening of
Mhm.
RoboCop where they just blow him to shit?
Yeah.
Yeah, so he gets RoboCopped. Melanie is injured by one of those spinning discs that what's it called, like not shot put, discus.
Discus, yeah.
Yeah, one of those discuses that destroyed Descasano. And then Bashira is decapitated, same as Descasano. Jericho is overran and presumably killed. You hear like a bunch of like blood and
Oh,
guts sounds.
he gets murdered.
Yeah, but they do it off screen, which just sucks. Just show it. It's a fucking horror movie.
Yeah.
But anyway, the other train conductor is also killed. The old guy. Was
Yeah.
he just also decapitated? Or no, he got his throat slit, right?
Yeah, he got his throat slit.
Yeah, he got his throat slit
So
by a
that-
discus.
Well, yeah, and then of course leaves Ballard and Desolation.
Yep, just Ballard and Desolation. They both get on a train. They start going. Since Melanie is injured-ish, they leave her in front. Desolation goes to basically drop the miners that have now jumped onto the train.
Yep.
By separating train cars. And I guess blowing them up as well. Like he set charges.
Yeah, they still had the detonators with them. Yep.
Yeah, so he set a bunch of detonation charges. Melanie fights off her own guy,
Mhm.
but doesn't really do much. Like just kills her, or she kills him pretty easy.
Yeah.
You're about to say something?
I was gonna say that's when he finds TNT. I don't know if you remember that, the dynamite. That's when I remember.
Yeah.
That's when I remember he had the detonator and finds the dynamite and goes, "Oh shit!"
No, I remember that because he has the detonator, and Melanie's like, "Oh yeah, there's TNT back there," which I was like, "Oh yeah," because they're saying that they didn't have TNT, so these aren't going to make that big of a boom, but now they are.
Yeah.
Oh, and then the main miner, Big Daddy Mars, as we now know him, was going ahead and fighting Desolation, but just before Desolation disconnected it, he gets blown up, so he's just gone.
Yeah.
And presumably just out in the ether, ready to attach to somebody else. And then they go ahead and go back into the main train compartment where the blast goes off, and they are just outside the blast radius, like barely.
Of course.
Yep. So they just go ahead and survive, no issues. The other miner that Melanie was, fighting just got tossed from train somewhere down the line. And then inside of the actual, what's it called, like recreational or sleeping quarters, I guess, for the team that you saw in the beginning.
Yeah.
Desolation sewing up Melanie, sewing up just the tiny little gash, and saying how him and his brother used to have to do this to each other all the time back in the day, and they kind of bond over that moment.
But of course, not so much a betrayal, but kind of part of the movie where I thought they were going to kind of, okay, let's just go back to the town to where Desolation handcuffs her to the bed, basically says, sayonara, I ain't going back to jail, basically.
Yeah, basically saying, I'm getting off here. If I go, you're going to turn me in no matter what because you're a cop.
Yeah.
It's what you do. I'm a criminal. This is what I do.
Yeah.
Yep. So it goes ahead and just jumps off the train. Does he even slow it down or just jump off?
I think he jumps off, but also I'm thinking, where the fuck did you jump off at? Like, not like, I mean, I guess there's other outposts in other towns, I guess. I don't know.
Well, he's got his rebreather, but he can just walk, I guess.
That's why I was like, man, what a guy. But
yeah, but essentially he just says his goodbyes. They both kind of leave as friendish, sort of. And then it fast forwards up to with the council finishing the story, saying that Desolation has handcuffed her when she slept, so she lies for him to basically keep his rep up instead of helping out a cop.
And that's what pissed me off, where she goes, I must have handcuffed myself in my sleep.
No, she says he must have handcuffed me in my sleep.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
So when I was watching that, maybe I just completely misheard it, but I went, what?
Yeah, because they were saying, oh, you had Desolation. Why didn't you bring him back? Oh, while I was sleeping, he left me because I trusted him.
Okay. I was going to say, what I heard would have made no freaking sense, and I've been like, what?
But essentially at that point, they end the story. The council's like, who's going to believe Ghost on Mars?
Is our statement to the cartel going to be that Mars is being overrun by ghosts?
And then, of course, whenever she wakes up later, so 2 hours, let's say, she went to go take an unemployment nap, and then wakes up.
An unemployment nap.
Yeah, an unemployment
Fuck
nap.
you.
Quarantine nap. But she wakes up in the hospital room, which I don't get why she's still in the hospital. Basically, they go ahead and in the council section, I can't talk to session.
There you go, buddy. You did it.
Let me try that again. So they end the council session. Melanie goes into the hospital room. She wakes up. She's in her underwear, but still has on top for some reason. It's weird. Puts her pants on, and then Desolation shows up and tosses her a gun and basically does like the buddy cop ready to kick ass type of shit.
Coronavirus because of you.
You're welcome.
Which I thought, you know what? To me, as cheesy as it was, I thought that was a kind of a badass ending to like Desolate. You know, if shit's in the fan, they're like, all cops get to your outpost and whatever, and then Desolation comes in and gives her a Uzi, and he's like, let's fucking do this.
Yeah. He's like, you ready to kick ass? And she's like, or what is it? Like, oh, you gonna lock me up or are you gonna kill me? And they're like, nah.
No. She goes, you should become a cop, or we should become partners or something. And then they kind of were thinking about it, go, nah.
Oh, yeah. She's like, oh, you're going to be my new partner. And he's like, nah.
And she's like, yeah, you right.
If you ever want to come to the other side, you make a hell of a crook.
You'd make a hell of a cop.
Nah. Let's just kick some ass.
It's what we do best.
That was a pretty good ending there. I thought the ending that I proposed was, a little bit better. Obviously, it left it more open, but that would have been like a second movie, like a sequel, I guess, which wouldn't really make sense in this scenario. But my ending that I was saying is that Bashira, Jericho, and Melanie should have all survived from the beginning. They're all telling their story inside of the council room, doing their own flashbacks to explain their own story, which would have made it make a lot more sense. And then also, once basically they get out of the council room, have the council be like super against them. They're locked up in a jail cell, and it's a complete reverse of what the original situation is, with Desolation coming to save them in the jail cell. And that's where I would have had it. But basically him tossing everybody guns and saying, let's kick ass.
Now that would have been good. I like that.
Not many others did, which is why Ghost of Mars received mostly negative reviews, with the consensus stating that John Carpenter's Ghost of Mars is not one of his best movies, it is filled with bad dialogue, bad acting, confusing flashbacks, and scenes that are more campy than scary. With a Rotten Tomato score of, do you know the score?
Didn't look it up.
22%.
Ugh.
And
Yikes.
IMDb of a measly 4.9. So quite a bit worse than Hansel and Gretel.
That's tough.
Yep. So what was the budget and how much did it make?
Budget 28 mil, made 14 million.
Yes, which to be honest is not great.
No, not at all.
Yeah, making 50% back of your money with a film starring Ice Cube in 2001, which, is kind of at the height of his career. Like he's, about to go, are we there yet? So it's about to take a slump here.
But yeah, it was like I said, throughout the movie, I mean, I agree. It's kind of eh.
It's very eh, but it's not as eh as what they said, which is what I,
which is why we're doing this.
Yeah. But essentially, back in 2001, both of John Carpenter's prior movies, because, he's the guy who did Halloween, he fucking did The Thing, like he has all these legendary movies. But everything after that has been a flop. So his last two movies before this was both a film called Vampires, which I watched, I love, it's really good, and then also Escape from LA, which not as great as Escape from New York, but okay. But basically, with his performing in the box office, these were pretty much his last movies.
Yeah.
Like he made one other movie after this, which was his last directing movie, in The Ward in 2010. So between this and The Ward, there's a 9-year break where he just didn't have any work. Which is sad when you think about the stuff that he has created. But Jesus Christ, he did not have much faith from anybody in Hollywood to make a good movie.
If that was the case.
Well, it definitely seems like it, because he, had The Thing, Halloween, like all these really high box office number movies, and then just everything else from that trash.
Yeah.
But essentially, with all these receiving negative reviews, poor box office numbers, he was basically relegated to just being remembered for his past work, and new work not really being given a chance, and if it does, not really performing well. His biggest projects were, of course, Halloween, The Thing, Christine, They Live, like all these fantastic classic horror movies. And then For me, I'm not arguing that Ghost of Mars is a great movie. Not even a very good movie. It's an okay movie.
I agree with that.
So it's not as bad as what they're saying. I put a 7 out of 10 for my rating. I'm going to reduce that. I'm saying 6.5.
I would go with the nice 5.5.
Really?
To be honest, it's not I won't give it like a 2 out of 10, kind of what Rotten Tomatoes was, like 22%. I wouldn't give it that, but it was for what it was. I mean, I laughed, I cried at the end. I was entertained.
You cried at the end.
I'm just playing.
You're sitting there crying like a bitch after the buddy cop moment at the end.
I was like, damn, they got me.
Well, anyway, with this movie, it's not a perfect movie by any fucking stretch of the imagination.
Mm-mm.
The CGI is at points terrible. The filmmaking is like kind of garbage. Like it seems like I could have made this movie, which if I could make that movie, it seems pretty bad. But I would say 6.5 because one, it's at least enjoyable. I think anything enjoyable deserves at least above a 5.
Mm-hmm.
But what would have bumped it up a lot is if it had better CGI, it showed more of the gore effects for, actually killing people. And then also that the acting was better because, of course, everybody just kind of sounded robotic except for Ice Cube. Ice Cube was really good.
Yeah.
Plus, this was only Ice Cube's second horror movie ever.
And that's what I was going to say. I really liked Ice Cube in this movie. I guess I'm not too much like a fanboy here. And I like him in his stuff, but at least this one, like I said, I was like, you know what? Having Ice Cube in this, he was actually pretty good. The rest kind of, but Jason Statham, that was when I first got when you recommended it and I watched the movie, I went, what the? I didn't expect that.
Yeah, Jason Statham had really just like a period of 8 years where he was super good. Everything else is dog shit. You really fall into the uncanny valley of shitty Jason Statham movies.
Mm-hmm.
Like nowadays, he's back to that valley. It's god awful.
To be honest, I haven't heard much of him lately, so
I watched a movie of his the other night on Hulu. I forget what it's called. Maybe Hit Me or it's some wild card. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Essentially, he plays a bodyguard, but he doesn't want to be a bodyguard because he's a pacifist now.
Uh-huh.
So he's in Vegas and he has a serious gambling problem.
Oh boy.
No reason why I like it apart from that. But seriously, or not seriously. Essentially, one of his friends gets beaten up and raped.
Mm-hmm.
So he helps her by beating up the guy who beat her up, and she comes in like threatens to chop off his dick.
Mm-hmm.
And he steals $25,000 from him.
Mm-hmm.
Takes it to the tables because he needs to make back all the money he owes, which is like $500,000.
Mm-hmm.
So he makes back the $500,000 one night just on blackjack. Just goes crazy, makes it all back, goes to cash it in at the cashier, but before he gets there, he has like a panic attack and says, "I need to make $1 million," which, good point.
Mm-hmm.
He was right in this scenario. Same thing I would have done.
Yeah, hearing from you. Okay.
But anyway, he goes back to the table, and he had this point in the movie earlier where he was on a 19. And he's like, "Hit me," and because the dealer was showing a 10, he's like, "I know you got a 20 under there, but you might have a 2 there, so that's why I'm saying hit me." And the dealer's like, "All right, crazy," and does it. Hits a 2. This time he gets a 17. Dealer gets a 9 or a 10, but she has like 15 under, like a dog shit hand.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, "Hit me," and the dealer's like, "You got it. You're on a roll tonight." Does it? It's like a 7. He's like, "Ugh," because he bet it all in one hand.
Oh damn!
And that was like, that was the only good part of the movie. After that, all downhill.
I'm sad for him.
I should have just done a fucking movie review on that. But anyway, Ghost of Mars, final score 6.5. Final score for you?
5.5.
Yep, so definitely could use a lot of improvement, but enjoyable movie nonetheless.
I can agree with that. It was
a quick watch.
It was an hour and a half. Yeah, it wasn't bad, but it is what it is, I would say. It gets my it is what it is score.
So Richard's it is what it is score of 5.5?
Yeah, 5.5, okay.
Grant's hit on a 19 score of 6.5.
Ooh.
But anyway, that is probably going to be it for a month or so. Like, we'll get together at some point.
Yep.
But these videos take a long time to create.
Oh, I bet.
Not 8 months, but a long time. And we'll try to get back on a semi-regular schedule. But, it's quarantine. We got shit to do.
Quarantine, baby.
Yeah, like
hopefully the next one we make will
take
everything
naps
will
and ignore me.
I was gonna say hopefully the next one we make will be out of the shit. I should be doing some stuff, but we'll see.
You want to give a recommendation or something to watch for maybe our next one?
I have to do some research, honestly.
All right, we'll go ahead and get together, come out the next one. Just remember, comment, like, subscribe. I try to respond to every comment. Mostly just making fun of people, make fun of you, but that's about it.
Or at least tell us if you've seen the movie, I would say. What do you think? Which
you want their opinions?
I was gonna say I can imagine just wow, you guys really are doing this movie no justice.
This is a magnifique. this is his masterpiece.
Oh my god.
They said The Thing was John Carpenter's best movie.
Ghost on Mars. Oh, just the Italian thing you just did. Oh my god, the kiss. Anyways.
I wish I could do any Italian, but I was just about to say Bacca de Bupi. Like, that's a fucking Italian.
Oh, yeah, and on that note.
Yes, on that note, we'll go ahead and end it. Thank you so much for watching. Have a good one. Bye.